This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. We have got a great panel this week. Yani Ababa here is with us, a very funny comic, as well as one of our regulars and contributors, and who sits in for me when I'm sick or on vacation or just don't feel like doing the goddamn thing. The very funny Sue Kalinsky is here, and how am I describing you? Writer and producer and director, and an old friend Nicole Boxer is here with us, who's also a friend of the podcast. So good to see everybody. So here's what we're going to start with. Last week's podcast was like right after all the Swalwell stuff broke, and I ended up with three male comics on last week. So you have four guys sitting around, talking about a sexual predator in his congressional office, and with no woman's perspective. So this week we're overcompensating, quite frankly, which is something that we do quite well. So let me just give you a little bit of what the latest is. Oh, and I should mention probably as well, just if you didn't see last week, in the interest of disclosure, I have known Swalwell and considered him a friend since he first got elected. Now, when I say a friend, I never socialized with a man or saw him. I don't think I ever saw him outside of a radio or a television studio, but interviewed him just a number of times. He's been on this podcast. We did a one-on-one interview. Probably about maybe 4 to 6 months ago that we did. And I will tell you too, that the last, communication, we texted back and forth. Last communication I had with him was we were talking about me putting together a comedy show benefit for his gubernatorial campaign. So I'm just telling you all that so you know where it is I've come from. And I was shocked by all of this. I originally thought it was a smear, but then again, I also worked with Cosby. So is it my cologne? Is it my cologne that's drawing all these predators to be like around me?
Should we worry that we're working with you now, that something's going to come up about us?
As long as none of you have a drink in front of you, I think you're fine. I think you're all fine.
Water.
Well, let me start with this. Mother Jones has got a really disturbing article that was published about 20 hours ago. It's on the Mojo Wire. It says there are Eric Swalwells across state governments. Let's see. Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez resigned from office last week amid unrelated House Ethics Committee investigations alleging sexual misconduct. And yesterday, the committee stated that since 2017, they have initiated no less than 20 misconduct investigations against members of Congress, most of whom have not ended up resigning. Sexual misconduct is pervasive in America's state houses, too, according to a new report by the National Women's Defense League, which is a group focused on preventing sexual harassment in the workplace. They have found credible evidence. Found credible sexual harassment allegations against 162 sitting state officials in 424 incidents between 2013 and 2026. 6 of those lawmakers were accused in 2025, and of the 162, 17 are still in office. They say the public record is just the tip of the iceberg. And in the years, this surprises, it really does surprise me. This part does. In the years following the Me Too movement, the number of people reporting workplace sexual misconduct has decreased. And what you can infer from that is that women don't feel that they can trust that the system is going to hold anybody accountable. And the women are usually the ones who end up dealing with the backlash of all of this. So I guess, as I said, since we had 4 guys talking this last week, I would just like your overall thoughts. Nikki, did you know Eric?
I know, yeah, like I know Swalwell well. He's my little brother. This is like a crazy situation. And let me just say that right off the bat, I'm not surprised by the stats at all that you just laid out for us as a woman, period. And as a woman who grew up around politicians and in politics. This is everywhere. These are men in positions of power that use their power to get sex from women who work for them. And that, for me, this is, or who have influence over them, or who make promises over them. And I think Swalwell, let's just stick it to the side. Like you, I was shocked at first, and I thought that's bullshit. It's a smear, oldest trick in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, when the stories started to come out, it was like, wow, the level of talent at deceiving is strong with this one. And I hate to say it, okay? The reality is these guys are everywhere. They're all around us. The ladies know. We all know they're everywhere. And in politics, it sort of goes with the territory in terms of what it is that we're selling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're selling, we're convincing people of things. We're changing people's minds. We're using our charm. You know, go back to Bill Clinton, for God's sakes, look at my mom's career. She blew out Bob Packwood.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Started.
I just realized when she was in the House, and I should mention, if you don't know, Nikki's mother is former Senator Barbara Boxer.
So 1993, everyone said, Bob Packwood's the nicest guy. He's pro-choice.
That's it. That's all you needed.
Okay, boom. So nothing's really changed,
His
Brian.
choice.
Nothing's changed. But I'd like to hear what the women have to say.
Sue?
You know, what blows my mind is that he has been doing this for so long, and a lot of these men have been doing it for so long, and they're in the public light, the public office. And the fact that they can walk around and actually think that no one's going to find out about this. You know, I mean, we live in a time when, you know, look, you know, I ran for student council when I was in like junior high school and was afraid they were going to find out that I, you know, shoplifted bubble gum from a 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? So on this large scale and being in the public eye, running for governor and being in Congress for so long.
Running for president. Remember, he ran for president.
Running for president. Like what, how do they, I just don't understand how they just think that no one's ever going to find out about this. And they just walk around like everything is business as usual. Everything is okay.
Well, but here's the thing. I don't know if you heard Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the soundbite that's been floating around from him on Fox News, where he said that everybody in on the Hill knew about Swalwell, and that they all knew to keep their young female staffers away from Swalwell and away from Matt Gaetz. And they've all known for years. Yaini, do you believe that? And if so, does it surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't
Democrat and Republican.
You know, it was interesting. I was just talking to someone about being a woman in the comedy scene, right? And how I was talking to them about performing with Ali Wong and how threatened male comedians were with Ali Wong when she was first starting out, right? And we would be in venues together, and because they were strangely attracted to her, but they were also intimidated by the fact that she was so good, right? And so men want power and they can't handle it. So men would be really inappropriate with her and be really weird. And as a result, Ali was a little socially awkward for a little bit when she was at comedy clubs. I'm a different person. Men would be weird with me and I would just be a bitch because I'm an Aries, right? But I've seen it in so many different places, right? I've seen it in politics. When we did our hunger strike in front of the police station in 2016 at the Frisco 5, I saw politicians coming down. I'm not local politicians, supervisors, you know, state assembly members, and trying to use that to get in with us, to get women to give them what they needed. Like it's a power thing. And so when they're in positions of power and maybe in some way they feel intimidated by women, or they feel like, what's the word? I feel like I can't even speak English. It's because I'm half Ethiopian, y'all. But, you know, they feel insecure, and then there's strong women around them. So they feel like, okay, well, here's this woman who works for me. I'm going to assert my sexual power over this woman to make myself feel more in control. And there's that narcissism in it too. Like there's the whole narcissistic aspect. I've always found Eric Swalwell to be a complete and total narcissist.
Really? Why? Tell me what the tip-off was for you.
It's just
I missed it. I'll be honest. I completely missed it.
The way he talks. And like, you know, his lives would pop up on Instagram and I'd be like, oh, Eric Swalwell's on there. What's he talking about? You know, about when Trump first got sworn in for his second term. And it was just all talk and no action. It was just this swagger thing where I was like, great, keep talking, but when are you going to do something? And it was really like stroking his own ego and talking about how great he was. And so I didn't totally believe these accusations at first until I read more about it. And then I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the reason why I didn't believe it is because the GOP was going so hard for him, right? And they're dirty. They're like pigs in the mud, dirty. So for me, I was a little heartbroken just because, I mean, I'm from the Bay Area, born and raised, right? And he wasn't my congressman.
He's mine. He's my congressman, or one of my congressmen.
But still, that's heartbreaking just as a Bay Area person, but also it's not surprising as a woman.
Well, let me ask you this question, and that is, if everybody knew, and everybody on the Hill knew, and they according to Politico piece, that it was common knowledge here in Alameda County, and county officials, as well as the people in the state, the Democratic Party knew, who and what he was about, and everybody on the Hill. Why did they allow him to go on? Because it's not like a deal where, I mean, we are here right next door to Oakland. And there is no way in hell that we're going to elect a Republican. I mean, he knocked Pete Stark out of office, who was our congressman here in this district for 40 years. And so there was no way in hell that if they removed him, another Democrat was not going to be elected. So I don't get it. I don't understand why, aside from just doing what's right. Go ahead.
Let me push back a little bit. I don't think everybody knew. I mean, I can tell you right now, there are some very powerful women who you may imagine who I'm talking about, did not know and entrusted Eric. Eric was look, you're going to be a narcissist. You're going to be a convincing politician. You're going to deny. You're going to say, that used to be me. That's not me now. Look at my beautiful family. Trust me, until someone has a photo of you or a woman comes forward, there's plausible deniability. So I think this is just convenient for people to go, yeah, we knew. No, you didn't know. You didn't know. There would have been ethics charges, okay? Any staffer having a relationship with a member of Congress, their boss, should be protected by law. It's not illegal, but it's illegal. In Congress,
it's unethical.
Unethical. Yeah. And you can charge and make an ethics complaint. There was no ethics complaint. So, okay, so what is the bar? That's why, okay, let me quickly, there is rape in the military. We all know about that. And we knew that women had to report to their own bosses, right? And there was a problem with reporting, and women were getting kicked out, and no one was believing them because their male boss could choose who to believe. Hi, same system. In Congress, you have an ethics committee. It's not like a court of law. So is a girl that works for Eric Swalwell going to go to another male ethics committee member? So I think we need to be looking at how it gets reported and all this. I mean, there's so many levels we could take a bite out of this. At the end of the day, politicians, we got to know a lot of them are shitty people, just like comedians are shitty people. Just like
that's universal, pretty much. I think you so would agree with me. By and large, that's why we do what we do. We're shitty, depressed.
We're everywhere, all types at all times, everywhere, all at once.
So, I mean, look at Willie Brown. Look at how everyone talks about Willie Brown. They're not talking about him like assaulting people, but like it's known. One, he's the kingmaker of the Bay Area, and two, he be getting around. Like, I mean.
Well, here's my Willie Brown story. I've known Willie for 30 years, and when he was running for re-election for mayor of San Francisco, there was a scandal that broke. And Nikki, maybe you remember exactly what it was. I forget. It was something about him giving somebody some contractor or somebody who was a friend of his a job. I don't remember the specifics of it.
Contract.
So I have Willie on, and I ask him, I'm asking him the hard questions. Okay, Willie, who is so-and-so? I don't remember the guy's name. Who is so-and-so? He goes, he's a friend of mine. And I said, Willie, did you give him a job? He goes, of course I did. What kind of friend would Willie Brown be if Willie Brown didn't give his friend a job? It's like, where do you go from there? I mean, where do you go? Of course, anybody who talks about themselves in the third person, that's the other one. If Willie Brown didn't take care of Willie Brown's friends, and it's like, once he admits it and goes, yeah, and where do you go? Willie, that's illegal.
Trumpism, right? That's Trumpism. And
Well, look where we are. We have a president, the whole E.G. Carroll and who knows what he did, with Epstein. He keeps on talking about, I wasn't there. It wasn't only Epstein Island that things went on. They went on in his townhouse in New York. So, so this behavior has become so normalized. Like I listened to Caroline Levitt talk about Gonzalez in Texas, and she was saying how, oh, the Democrats with Swalwell, they didn't react right away, and it's like, oh, really? Well, I think they reacted pretty quickly. And Gonzalez, I mean, give me a break. Like
The woman set herself on
she
fire.
set herself on fire, and they have known
Yeah.
about it for
Must
so
have been very
long.
bad
And you know
embarrassed.
what? If Swalwell didn't come forward, he didn't come forward, Gonzalez never would have.
Oh,
Yeah,
no way.
I
And I'll
agree.
tell you what else. I think that if Swalwell were Republican and this had come out, they would have just doubled down. They would have doubled down and in terms of protecting him.
Look at Congressman Mills right now, who's the other one that they're like, he needs to go too. And Nancy Mace has been going after him for a few months now. I mean, he was dating a very young woman and assaulted her and was stalking her and sending her threatening text messages. And there's other reports of him being violent against women. And there's also reports of him, doing all this like stuff to give his own company contracts and all this. I don't know the exact charges, but like, and the Republicans are like, okay, and
Yeah, your point.
Yeah, I mean, look at the story that broke last week about the Rape Academy and 62
Yeah.
million eyeballs on men roofing. I think that for me, the idea that Eric roofied someone. I mean, it's wow. I mean, we're sort of stuck in this timeline, and talking about Bill Cosby and Bill Clinton and to today. I mean, what are we going to do about this? I think it's about how can women report? How can there be one system of justice across institutions that works for people or for women? I certainly do not have the answer. I thought Me Too was going to really uplift us.
Me Too
That's for
accomplished
sure.
nothing at the end of the day, right?
Right. And I want to go back to the Epstein thing because, they, and when women, someone like Pam Bondi, I can't even call her a woman. I don't even know what she is. But the fact that she, wouldn't even look at these women during the hearing and they all wanted to like sweep it under the rug. And then Trump comes out and says, well, they didn't find anything on me. So, let's like, it shouldn't be going on anymore. Let's just leave this already. And it's like, oh, because you weren't found guilty yet, you will be, trust me. But the fact that they haven't pinned anything on you, what about all the other men that raped these women, sexually assaulted these women? That's okay? And that's coming from our president.
Well,
So
Marjorie Taylor Greene is all over the place the last 24 hours. And she's really twisting a knife. And she has repeated her story. I heard on a podcast this morning that Trump told her, and he's apparently told Bondi and everybody else, do not release those files because my friends are going to get hurt. People are going to get hurt. My friends are going to get hurt. As I told you last week, we talked about this, and it was four guys, and there was one thing that we were just all perplexed by, and maybe the three of you, can answer this for me. Among the egregious things that it is alleged that Eric Swalwell did was sending dick pics. And I will tell you, I never did dating apps, and my daughter, who's now happily married, when she was dating, she used apps. And I asked her what was it that attracted you to Patrick, who's my son-in-law? And she said, well, when over the app, when I sent him a text that said, message that said hello, he responded hello. Whereas she said 4 out of 5 times you send a message hello, you get a dick pic back. Nothing else, no hi, no context, just a dick pic. And I go, that doesn't happen. She goes, ask. And I did, and every woman I talked to said that's what happens. So I don't get it. Has this ever worked? Is there any guy who you don't know who is randomly or know casually who has randomly sent you a picture of his junk where you've gone, I mean, I don't get it. Why? Explain this to me, or maybe you can. Maybe you don't even know.
I'm going to guess that they're thinking of it from how they approach attraction, and they approach attraction physically. And as a woman who's I'm attracted to men, I think penises are really ugly. I don't want to see it. I might
No
want to do
offense,
something
no
with it,
offense, no
but I
offense.
don't really want to look at it. You know what I mean? Like, but they're like, they're so visual in terms of how they are attracted to things that they probably think like, oh, I'm going to show a picture of my junk and she's going to love it. But most of us are like, "Oh, I don't want to see that veiny ass thing. Like, that is not what I want to see. I was interested in the fact that you have a puppy. Tell me about your puppy. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of human being are you? Oh, wait, you just told me with the dick pic. So,
That is so true. You know, I used to have a joke on my act about women wearing thong bathing suits.
mhm.
And I, would say that it leaves nothing to the imagination, right? That's like having a guy wearing a bathing suit with his testicle hanging out off to the side. It's like there is no attraction here, you know? I, I don't want to see that, but
Mhm.
you're right. Yeah, I mean you're totally right about that because that's how like my husband said to me one day, he was talking about my breasts and he said, if I had breasts, I would play with them all day. And I said, you know what? I said, maybe in the beginning, because you never had them, but then it would be like the pool table that you have in your basement that, or
I
the
got
gym,
one.
or like the gym membership you don't use anymore, when the thrill of having it goes away, you wouldn't play with them anymore,
I
trust
have a
me.
different theory on the dick pic, which is if you respond to the dick pic, it's on.
Uh-huh.
So it's one
Totally.
it's a long game or a short game, but it's the person that responds to like emojis or whatever, like dick pic, you're in. So like, maybe 10 say no and one says yes, and you know who that mark is, and you're in.
So it's a way to
You
find the
weed
warm
out.
leads. It's a way to
Yep.
find the warm leads. Is that's it?
Yeah.
And to weed
You,
to
you,
weed all
It's
the
the
other ones
weed.
out.
you
Yeah.
weed out the chicks that aren't down.
It's chumming the water. That's kind of what it is. To see if
That's
you
what
get a
it
bite.
is. Mhm.
Actually, that's the most
And
logical explanation I've heard. That really is. I'm serious. That's the most logical. Knowing the mind of the man as I do. No, actually, I don't. That I can see guys that would think that way.
yeah.
We'll put it that way. And being comics, I'm sure that there are plenty of comics who I know that you've worked with and have come up with who would have that kind of mindset. My old friend John Fox comes to mind. So you knew John, didn't you?
John Fox.
Yes.
Did I ever talk to you about my John Fox story?
Now, before you do, I gotta tell you, we were really good friends. There's nothing you're gonna say that's gonna surprise me. If you don't
Okay.
know, he passed away in 2012. A funny, hysterical, but the biggest on the road.
What a hound dog. So my first paid stand-up like road gig was at Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento.
I used to work there.
And it was me, John. I was the opening act. It was me, John, and this guy, Jeff DeHart. And the headliner, of course, got the bedroom. They only had two bedrooms. They had three comics, two bedrooms, and a woman and two guys. So you would think maybe, one of the guys would have some class and say, well, you're the woman here. It's kind of weird you like sleeping on the couch and whatever. But no, no one did that. I found out that John Fox did research on whether he was going to get laid that weekend because he didn't know me. And he was like, am I going to get laid with Sue Kalinsky? Because we're sharing a condo together. That was my
Wow.
introduction to John Fox.
Wow. George Lopez told me that the line was that the comment on the comics was that they didn't believe in STDs because if Fox didn't have it, it didn't exist. There's no such thing
Oh
if
my God.
Fox doesn't have it. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. Wow. It has been. I have seen a lot of sexism. I've been in stand up since I was 18. As I was telling, one of my first gigs was with you, Sue, back in maybe 83, 84, going back that far.
Hmm?
And over the years, I don't think it's changed really that much, unfortunately, but just so much sexism in terms of, that women are, I've heard, Fox used to say, well, chicks ain't funny. And it's like, first, so how can you paint with a broad brush? I know plenty of women who are funny. No, they're not. Well, that's like saying, that blonde guys aren't funny. You can't paint with that kind of a brush. But it was so like blatant, blatant to the point of being uncomfortable for me, and I'm not a woman. Some of the stuff that guys would say about women comics.
Oh yeah. Well, when I first started, there weren't a lot of women. And Yanni was talking about, the jealousy factor.
Yeah.
And I remember repeatedly, myself and many women would be introduced as, now we have a woman comic, like we were from like another planet or something. It was like, no, we're comics. We're comics. We just happen to be women, but we are comics just like you are. And I don't want to be singled out as a female comedian. And they would introduce us like, just give some credits and then end with, yeah, and I fucked her last week, and here she is. They would always sexualize and do something to make the audience maybe think that we weren't as good as the men were. And it was hard enough at that time because there weren't a lot of women and you had to really prove yourself more than guys. But they would do everything they could to make it more difficult for you to be liked the minute you walked on stage. You were in a disadvantage.
This is a good.
Tell me, I'm sorry.
But
I had a club owner once tell me, "Oh, you had a good set. I didn't think you were going to have a good set because you're a woman. I was just thinking the whole time that you're pretty. You should lose some weight and try modeling." And I was just like, "Thank you." Like, you don't know what to say because this is the guy booking the club, Or male comics were like, "Oh, all you guys do is talk about your period." Well, I don't talk about my period. And two, I'm tired of your dick jokes. I'm the only one not telling a dick joke on stage. You know what I mean? Like, or it's just the double standard in the comedy scene of women aren't funny. Well, there'll be like 10 men who will come up and say the same joke in a different way. And then think that they're entitled to the laughs because they are men is just weird to me.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this: Have you either of you ever come across this? And I have a feeling that you have. As an African American man, when I used to work the road, would come across. Oh, let's see, I'll book you on the 15th. Oh, wait, we can't put you on that show because we already have a black comic on that show. Like, excuse me, do we do similar material? I'm doing political stuff. You have another African American comic who's doing. Well, now we have a. Then it's a black show. We can't. So if you had that, well, we've already got a woman.
Oh, always.
A woman on that bill.
You could never be on the same bill as a woman up until really not that long ago. But I wanted to give an example of how women were, really treated shitty. There was a great gig in Puerto Rico sometime in the 80s. And two male comic friends of mine said, "Oh, Sue, you got to get this gig because it is great. It's a piece of cake. You're in Puerto Rico. It's so much fun. Smoke pot the whole time you're there. It's the greatest." So I knew the guy that booked the club and I called him up, and he was a manager also. And I said, I really like to work the club. And I had worked his club he had a club in Manhattan that he booked. And he said, "Sorry, they don't want any more women at the club." And I said, "Really?" I said, why is that?" "Well, they booked a woman last week and she bombed, so they don't want any more women." And I said, "You gotta be kidding." I said, "So what happens when a guy bombs? Do you not book men anymore? I mean, really? And you're not going to fight for this?" I said, "Shame on you." And that's just the way it went. And they never hired women for this particular club anymore. Because one woman had a bad set.
I was going to say, not to make this about my mom, but my gosh, I mean, I'm not a comedian, so I can't comment there, but I can say.
You've been around us since you were in college. You used to come and hang out with us.
No, this is true. But, when Barbara first ran for the Senate, she was running against a bunch of men in the primary, right? And she was at 1% in the polls, and everyone was kind of like, "You have absolutely no chance," because Dianne Feinstein was running in the other seat. And had she listened to what they had to say, she wouldn't have made history like she did with Dianne to be the first two women from the same state in the United States Senate. And they made history then, and they said, it can't be done. And she did it. And I think, look, we're so far past this. This is like to compare all women or to compare all African Americans or to compare, we're all our own beings, I love this show because I get to be a little bit spiritual on the show, but it's just like we all bring our own unique flavor, vibe, whatever. And everyone, deserves that chance. And I think in a way, the saturation of media and the saturation of politics, it's made monolith, or comedy for that matter. It's because it's so accessible, it
Mhm.
all becomes like gentrified and everything's the same. And in fact, nothing could be less true.
You
This
know,
is
I was. Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna
no,
say I was at the Fairmont Hotel for that election night party when your mom and Diane won, and I remember that they joined hands and said, "We are this is how I'm going to date this. I'm going to completely date this with this reference." Your mother said, "We are going to be the Cagney and Lacey of Capitol Hill. We're going to be the Cagney and Lacey of Capitol Hill." And I asked her, I interviewed your mother once on radio, and I asked her about that. And she said, after she retired, and she said she barely remembers the night because there was so much stuff that was going on and going through her mind at that historic moment.
yeah,
So
that's true.
well, this is a good place to bring us around to. You've all been sent individual questions. The way this works, you've all done the show. You know how this works. I'll ask you a question, you can answer, then we'll open it up to everybody. So this first one is going to go to you, Sue, and this again is it's right in line with what we're talking about. Um, Louis C.K. lost everything for about 5 minutes, it looks like, back in 2017 when a number of female comics came forward, women comics came forward, and and talked to the New York Times, wrote an article about how he masturbated in front of these women comics at a time when he's like the most powerful person in comedy, one of them, with a show that he's starring in, a show he's producing, and Netflix specials and films and all of this stuff. And there are these young women comics who are starting out, trying to break in. And then it's like, oh, do you mind if I masturbate in front of you? What is he supposed to say? So he lost. I mean, he got fired. They dropped all FX, and everybody dropped all their associations with him. He had a movie that was coming out that they pulled, and all this stuff. And he quietly began going into to clubs. I think within 6 months of that, doing material, working stuff out. And next thing you know, he's selling out Madison Square Garden, and Netflix has announced that he is going to be given a special for the first time since all of this happened. Now, let's flip to the other side of this. Kathy Griffin in 2017, coincidentally the same year, got blackballed for that picture of her holding a wax replica of Trump's head, like he'd been beheaded. And she lost all of this stuff. She lost the Anderson Cooper New Year's Eve gig, and people weren't booking her. I had no idea she had as much trouble as she did. I saw an interview with her, and she still hasn't recovered. And by the way, and she's got a special on YouTube that's coming up. But since 2017, she has really, really taken some hits. So, a couple of questions. First of all, what do you think of Louis' resurrection? Do you think that what happened to him at the very beginning, when everything was cut off, it should have stayed that way, or do you think that he should have been able to work his way back? That's the first thing. And the second thing is that do you think that Kathy Griffin has been treated differently? And well, first of all, I thought it was a big overreaction to that picture. But anyway, I'll leave it to you. What do you think? Do you think that there was parity here in any way?
I think she was treated really unfairly when you compare the two, you know? She said that she never meant it the way they had proclaimed, that it was provoking violence. It was an artist that she knew, apparently, that did that. And to compare that with somebody sexually abusing two young female comedians, to me, there's no comparison. And, I don't know, Louis got away with a lot of stuff, and I don't know whether it has to do with the fact that, Louis was very, very popular. This was at the height of his fame. And I think Netflix knows that he's a moneymaker. And Louis went online, and he went to his base, and he got all these people back. And I don't think that Kathy Griffin, I just don't think she had the financial, goods. You know what I mean? I just don't think that she's somebody that Netflix would, regardless of what she did, I don't think Netflix would have wanted her to you know, they wouldn't even want her compared to someone like Louis. So I think, and as a woman, I think she totally got railroaded in this whole situation.
And this thing with Louis, I should say, by the way, and I don't know him. Let me say, I don't know him. I have never met him, but I have heard stories. I mean, you can talk to Tom Sawyer, is the booking producer on the show. I think he's actually said this on the show, so I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, but that this was something that people knew about for a long time. This wasn't like a one-time thing. That this stuff like this has been going on with him for years. You know, with waitresses at the club and all that kind of stuff. So this wasn't a one-off.
And he's got
From what I
daughters.
heard.
He's got daughters. I mean, it's like, oh my
Well, see, that's the thing that kills me. Like, guys will throw that out like it's supposed to inoculate you. Like when the Access Hollywood tape came out, and all of these indignant Republicans, oh, well, I have a daughter, so yeah. Well, so if you didn't have a daughter, then it's cool. Then it's
No,
okay.
what I'm saying, the fact that he has daughters and
No, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
The saying is, it kills me is that those guys will throw that out.
Sadly, it doesn't inoculate men from thinking often with their dick. But
Hey.
hey, I mean, some men.
Don't say thinking.
Oh, we're just. Yeah,
Use the word thinking.
Is that this is interesting because Louis C.K., this is a redemption story. I agree with Sue totally that it's about money and bankability. People want to see what he has to say. How do you come back from this? I mean, it's almost like we're digging into this dirty underbelly, and we're going to hear how he's going to make fun of what he went through. It would be like, you know, I'm trying to think of a comparable thing, but like if we could ever get behind the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation, I mean, that people would want to see that.
Yeah.
But I would just say, in terms of Kathy Griffin, I think you have a couple things going against Kathy Griffin. One is the D-list, and her entire comedy career, she trashed people in Hollywood. So she is not loved by people. I mean, real people love Kathy Griffin, but she basically built a career on trashing every powerful person known to man. Cut to a successful female redemption story. Drum roll, please. Martha Stewart. Okay.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to say is sometimes it's not about our gender. It can be about who do you know. And in my opinion, I do think this is, as Sue is talking about, it is about money and bankability. But I mean, Louis C.K. gives new meaning to the word comeback.
swing.
There's also like this whole like who society wants to cancel, right? So look at Whitney Cummings' career got destroyed because Chris D'Elia was a PDF file, right?
Wait, back up. I don't know this. I don't. What happened to her? I know she was everywhere. And again, I interviewed her on television
for his predatory behavior with young girls.
One more time, you broke up.
Her, because she was his friend. I don't know if she defended him or what, but she's canceled, right? Her career was trashed because Chris D'Elia is a PDF file. I can't say it without it messing with the algorithm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But
took me a second.
But it's just weird to me, like who society goes after, because people are trying real hard right now to cancel Dave Chappelle, like real hard, but his base is a little too strong for that. But they are constantly going after Dave Chappelle. There's no allegations of him doing anything inappropriate. It's just he's told some jokes that are offensive to people. I've heard a lot of jokes that are, I mean, like I've sat in clubs where people have said things that are so racist against Black people where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, fuck that guy. But I will never be like, you can't tell that joke. Because I believe so much in the art of stand-up comedy. I will never tell a comedian, you can't tell that joke. But in my head, I'm like, fuck you, now I know who you are, right? But I mean, I had to sit in a green room with Mort Saul many times at the Throckmorton, you know.
I met him and sat back there with him once, but I never heard. No, but I never. Go ahead, tell me about this because I never heard anything.
It was like, yeah, boy, Barack Obama. I'm like, our President Barack Obama. Yes. What about our President Barack Obama? And he's like, he's just, it's all about, I don't like Black people. I don't like women.
Wow.
And it's just, you know.
Wow.
Mort Saul, I had no idea.
That shocks me. I mean,
So
because he was so, where he was like one of the hottest comics of the 50s into the early 60s. And what derailed him was that he loved Kennedy so much that he became completely and totally obsessed with the assassination. And that's all he would go on stage and rant about. And
I
that's what
really,
really hurt him in terms of people stopped booking it because they didn't want to, because audiences, okay, you made your point, move on. We don't need a blow by blow of the Warren Commission and the pages that were, the snippets that were leaked today. We don't need
but
that.
that was a different time too, right? That's when people
Mhm.
wanted to be entertained without feeling uncomfortable. So
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of what Kennedy stood for. I mean, we wouldn't have had a Civil Rights Act, even though Johnson signed it. Kennedy was the impetus behind it. Was the one who was able to tee it up before he was killed.
yeah, you're
Uh,
being generous, Brian.
am I?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of white people who loved Kennedy who don't like black people. I've met them.
I'm
So,
sure I probably am
you
too,
know,
actually.
they love that idea of that kind of politician. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes to their one-on-one experiences, they think, I mean, there are people who voted for Obama who say horrible things about black people. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's not that. It's like it's really complex. But
Well,
I know
that's the
our
I have a black
society
friend.
really loves to blame women for the behavior of men, right? So it's easier for a man to get grace and a second chance than it is for a woman. Look at Hillary Clinton is blamed for her husband's behavior with women. She has been vilified because of the way her husband is with
But what
women.
did they expect? But that's the whole thing I don't get. What, like with the Lewinsky thing, what did they expect her to do?
Leave
I
him.
remember watching. Was it Jeff Greenfield who used to do the polling for ABC, and watching his coverage the night that all of this broke. And he says, "What do you expect? Are you looking for a cab to pull up in front of the White House and Hillary to come out with two suitcases? It's not going to happen." So what
Well,
do they
Lady
expect her to
Gaga is
do?
playing in the background. Shooby doop doop. Right.
Oh,
I
I
think
love.
yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask. Let me ask you this, because maybe you know better than I do. I've never met Mrs. Swalwell. Do you think she stays through all of this?
You know, it's a tough one. I think she's going to have to digest a lot of this. She has three very little
Three
kids.
little kids. Hmm.
And, Eric still claims that it's not all true. So, I mean, look, enough of it could be true. Like I said, if he was before he got married, if he was doing this and that, okay, I get that. But like, I mean, I now that I think about it, I remember hearing that he had a zipper problem. That was how it was put to me. But that was before he got
A
married. So
zipper problem, like a
will she
wardrobe
stay?
malfunction.
Right? I mean, that's how people, yeah. So will she stay? It's up to her, you know.
Would you?
How deep is your love?
Would
Right.
you stay? I lost the three of you. Would you stay if this was your husband and you found this? Well, that's the thing too. It's like women are not stupid. You can't be a philanderer like that without your wife having an inkling. I just don't believe that women are
I
not
guess it
stupid.
just depends on, look, I've been in, I was in a long relationship with, and had a boyfriend that cheated on me a lot. And, I stayed, I left, then I went back and then I left. And I mean, I went back and forth for almost 16 years with this guy. So, but I mean, he didn't put roofies in it. He didn't rape somebody. I mean, it was consensual.
Accused, allegedly.
Don't
Well,
we
no,
don't know
I
any
don't,
of
I
that.
don't, I'd be hard pressed to believe that he did anything like heinous like that. But he had an infidelity issue. It was who he was. And I wasn't happy about it, but I stayed. And then finally it got to a point where, look, this going nowhere. This is behavior that'll probably always be if
Hmm.
it's been for almost 16 years. I mean, I don't think he's going to change. And, but I don't know. I mean, that you have a good point that he has little kids. So that's a toughie, man. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Did any of you ever see the Anthony Weiner documentary?
Yes.
Weiner a couple of years ago. That was just, I don't, maybe more than a couple of years ago. The pandemic screwed me up. I can't tell. Oh, wait, it's before that. So it's at least 7 years ago. Um, I remember just because people were wondering how Huma could have stayed with him after this all happened. And it opens with her, he's running for mayor after the scandal, running for mayor of New York. And she's introducing him to a woman's group and vouching for him and all of this stuff. And then it comes out that he's done it again. And they allowed the cameras just full access to everything,
Mhm.
which I couldn't believe that they did, is the other part of this. and you just, I remember I was sitting with my girlfriend at the time, we were watching this, and she goes, she hates him. You can see it in her face. He looks at her and goes, she hates him. Same thing, little kid, and it's just amazing that she stayed as long as she did. She stayed as long as she did. But I guess it's complicated, I guess. So, Yanni,
I have a friend who is going through a divorce right now, and she was with her man for 33 years. He cheated on her. She thought it was only once, took him back, found out he cheated again. And now through discovery, she's discovering that he was on Ashley Madison. He was on apps to hook up with prostitutes. He gave her HPV. I can say that because we were in a restaurant. She screamed it at the top of her lungs with no shame. I'm like, girl, they can hear you. She's like, I don't care. I'm suffering. Like, she was with him.
wait, whoa, back up. Put this in context. How does she say this in a restaurant?
Because she was talking about, like, I just met she officially calls him asshole now, not by his name. She's like, I was just talking to my lawyer about asshole and discovery and blah, 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 and all the things we're finding out. She's like, and then I went and got a checkup because my lawyer said to do it for all this stuff. And like a lot of women who are married for a long time don't get checked for that stuff because they have faith in their partner. They don't think their partner is going to cheat on them and brings a disease home. And so she's telling us about this, and she's like, and he gave me HPV. I'm like, girl, we are in a public place. She's like, I don't care. But 33 years they were together. And none of it. She thought he was loyal. He was a good husband. He was doing all these good things. Now through discovery, she's learning he was a completely different person. Completely different person.
This reminds me of I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue.
Well, it's funny how, there are clues, A girlfriend of mine had a great quote. She said, women see red flags and make them pink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a girlfriend years ago who was dating this guy. And I guess the night before he was taking her to Hawaii for vacation, he brought her flowers. And she said to me, he's really not kind of like a buy you flowers kind of guy. And she actually found out on the trip, but she said to him, and then this became out to be a joke. It was like, oh, nice flowers. Who'd you fuck? Like getting flowers meant he did something wrong and he cheated on her.
That's why he got it.
Flowers like a bad thing.
Oh,
If you don't ordinarily get them.
See, I remember when I was a young married, and my wife went away. We'd been married like less than a year, and my wife went away on a trip for for a week. Felt like a year. It did at that time because we were newlyweds. And I remember I watched The War of the Roses while she was gone, and it scared the shit out of me. The War of the Roses with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. And so she comes back. I've missed her. I've just watched War of the Roses. So I'm doing that. She had flowers when she came home, and I'm taking her out and all this stuff. And her girlfriends are going, he did something. They're all going, I'm telling you, trust me, men don't do this. He did something. I hadn't done anything, but I just, but that's exactly it. So we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. In terms of the flower tip is a good one. Thank you.
Pivot quickly to like someone who just done the shit right. I think Gavin, I just want to bring it around to Gavin for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gavin's been through a lot of shit, but I'm telling you, when he did the book tour, he really outed a lot of his foibles in the book, and he was asked about the affair that he had with chief of staff, and basically he's like, you know what? He's like, I don't really have the answer, and I don't know it, but I'm willing to become better. And so what I'm trying to say here is when it comes to politics, we deserve people who aren't a self-help book waiting to happen. We deserve people who are somewhat on the path to enlightenment, somewhat, at least 1 foot on the path. I'm not going to vote for another, fucked up, rapey, childish, unfixed, unhealed person.
But you don't know that when you're.
I know. But all I'm saying is I deserve to not have that, only to choose that. So what I'm saying is I appreciate Gavin for when he was asked about all shit, going, you know what, I don't actually know the answer exactly about how to be perfect or how to do everything, but I'm trying. And That's the conversation I want to have. And I think these debates need to be very different. We don't deserve to be hoodwinked by another guy who's keeping a very big secret about his personal behavior.
A lot of Congress are like, and I sometimes, so I call my senators and my congressperson every day. I got into it with one of their staff members today.
Well, you're in Tennessee though, so.
Look, Mango Mussolini, she's like, who's that? And I said, Trump. She's like, you can call him our president. I said, I'll call him our president when he acts like the president, but do not chastise me because you work for me. I was like, what do you think you are? But like the whole thing about like, I call every day and tell my senator, I am tired of seeing you on CNN looking like you've been held hostage. Like I tell his staff, like, what does Trump have on you that you say yes to everything? Ooh. What does he have on Senator Haggerty?
The ability to primary him.
Marsha Blackburn. I live in Tennessee. I know about Marsha Blackburn. I know she's just like, I'm gonna make all the money. I don't care who I hurt or brush my hair. I'm not gonna do that. But like Matt Van Epps, he's a new congressman. He's my congressman. It was completely funded by Bezos. Bezos gave $1 million it was a special election to his campaign. He co-signs anything Trump wants. And his wife got on the news when he was running and said, this man is devoid of any moral character and no one should vote for him. And he still won, right? What do they have on these people? What are these people doing? And how can we figure out not vet them before they get all the signatures to run for office? Do you know what I mean?
Well, but it's not that hard to know what he's got on it. What it is they want power, and if you don't, you got a seat, and you have a House seat or a Senate seat, and you don't do what he wants. I don't know about now because they're eating themselves. We'll get to that in just a minute. But he can primary you. And Lindsey, you will lose your seat.
What does he have on Lindsey? Because Lindsey be drinking. Lindsey's crying on TV. He's got something on Lindsey. Or Putin's got somebody, or Netanyahu's got something on Lindsey, and it's bad. It's not just that he's in the closet. That's the worst kept secret in DC. Everybody knows that. There is something else there because that man looks terrified. Like I have to go toe the line for President Trump, or I'm screwed. Like there are a lot of people in Washington when you see them supporting all of this, like upside down hot mess timeline that we are living through, they look like they are being held hostage. Like Pam Bondi in that hearing looked terrified. She looked so scared.
Well, the word is that she begged when Trump was firing her. I mean, that she begged for her job. I just humiliated myself in front of Congress and the world on international television. So.
Let us be free from these people. Yes. How many months till November 3rd? Yeah.
But Lindsey Graham being closeted, I'll tell you what's funny about that is that I didn't realize that it was common knowledge. I'm talking about just civilians, people who like you and I are obsessed with what's going on as far as the news and we keep our eye on everything, but most people don't. We put a lot more time in it than most people do. So I didn't know until I started doing this joke. I got this solo show called The Great American Shit Show. And it's monologues about life in the age of Trump. And I tell this, the joke is that, and it's true that Trump was at a breakfast of like Republican lawmakers. And he proudly said, I ended DEI in America. And then all of these straight white men and Lindsey Graham stood up and applauded. And the fact that they laugh at that tells you they get it. My hairdresser told me that all of her gay male friends say they call him Miss Lindsay when they refer to him because they all know. So the worst kept secret. So I don't know what the hell they got on, because you look at how vehemently opposed to Trump he was when Trump first ran in 2016. And in terms of how he said that he'll destroy, what's the quote? He'll destroy the Republican Party, and if we bring him in, we deserve to have the party destroyed.
Well, look at the quotes from all of them. Vance, he's America's Hitler. Rubio, Ted Cruz. I mean,
he called Ted Cruz's wife ugly, and said that his dad killed Kennedy.
There's video of almost everyone in his cabinet speaking out about what a horrible person this guy was. cut to, you know,
Cut to.
Rubio wearing a pair of shoes that are 2 sizes too big.
Yeah, but there's also photos of Rubio at a gay foam party in the 90s. You know, there's all these things like that you make you wonder, like, you know, or there's rumors about Magic Mike Johnson, or, you know,
Oh,
Are
Mike,
there?
there's
What are those?
she's
I
a
haven't heard
beard.
those.
She's a beard.
he's in the closet, and that he
Really?
like back home in Louisiana, he hangs allegedly he hangs out at the gay bar in his district, and it's been well known for years that he is in the closet. And I feel like there's a lot of other Republican politicians that are in the closet. I mean, there's been rumors about all of them. There's rumors about Charlie Kirk. There's rumors about Erica Kirk. You know, like there's rumors about a lot of them. I mean, why does Grindr shut down every time there's a CPAC or RNC event?
That's hysterical because it's true. I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah.
That grinder crashes every
Matt
time
Gates,
there's a CPAC or an
adopted
RNC.
Nestor. Nestor's like the same age as him. Come on now.
Come on now.
All right, Yanni, since we're talking about it's time for your question, since we were talking about MAGA. MAGA's eating itself right now. And I hate to say that I'm enjoying it, but I kind of am. You know, sitting back watching it, you know, you have had there are all these videos that are circulating of people burning their MAGA hats because of that the war, everything else he's done, the war is a bridge too far. All the other horrible things he's done, the fact that he's seeking regime change, you know, that's not the reason he went in there. That was the last straw. That was what it was. So he's attacking all the people who supported him and got him elected in the first place, especially all the right-wing podcasters. And so they have all come out against him and are showing regret for having supported him. Among them, Candace Owens, you know, Alex Jones. I can't believe I'm on the same side of something as Alex Jones. That's awful. Who am I missing? Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, all of them. Tucker Carlson, and that's the most prominent one. Tucker Carlson did this big. I don't know if you watched any of it of the video of his mea culpa and his apology and him saying that all of us who helped him were all complicit in this and everything else. So the question, and actually, I'm sorry, this was Nikki's question. I'll come back to you, Yanni. Your question is different. So he's apologized for all of this, and I'm asking whether or not we should believe that he is sincere and his apology. Kimmel last night called it liar's remorse. I love it. He's got liar's remorse. Laurie Kilmartin wrote that joke. That's so Laurie Kilmartin. But do you think that that this is truly remorse, or is it rebranding?
Yes.
Because he sees the ship going down.
I mean, the jokes write themselves, you know.
I'm sorry?
I said the jokes write themselves. You know, I mean, there's so much you said already. You know, Tucker can read tea leaves. His grandma taught him. And Trump is incredibly unpopular. I mean, not only is he unpopular, is the war unpopular? Do people disapprove of his handling of the economy? The ability to think the economy is ever going to get better. I mean, the numbers are outrageous. I think we're almost at like 70% disapproval on the economy, which is pretty high. So, you know, the fact that he was not tormented by anything until this war happened, like the racism, the rapiness, the January 6th, you know, the grift. I mean, there's so much here. So can we believe him? I mean, sure. I mean, he is human after all. I mean, he does have regret, but is it an act? Yeah. I mean, it's all, you can't really, these guys, they went too far over the last decade. They've gone too far to prop this person up after everything we've learned, all the things I just pointed out. There were many times to get off the ship, and to get off of it now. This is the question I have, and I'd like to ask you guys is, who is driving this behind Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Nick Fuentes, Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, all leaving at the same time, and Tucker? Who is driving this? Someone is, because follow the money. So I think we're going to have to follow the money. Is it going over to JD Vance? You know, what is Trump really done? Can the diaper not be
I think
changed
if they
anymore?
saw Joe Rogan and they saw the writing on the wall, I think their ratings dropped, and and then more and more of Trump's base was impacted financially and started complaining and said they're done. They were done before he went into Iran. Some of them were complaining about, like, this is not what I signed up for. He's supposed to release the files. They made their entire career, they've grifted off of the files. I mean, remember Tucker Carlson, it came out in the lawsuit with what was the name of that voting?
Dominion.
With Dominion, his text messages where he talked about how much he hated Trump. So he's never liked Trump. It's always been him seeing an advantage for himself and to advance his career, right? I think the same with Alex Jones. I don't think he believes anything that comes out of his own mouth. I think he appeals to a certain group of people that will buy supplements that will teach them how to go to outer space, like help them go to outer space. Like, that's where he is. And they see the grift. I think Candace Owens is genuine in it. I think she is so distraught over her friend Charlie Kirk, who maybe she was secretly crushing on, which is weird because of the things that he said about Black women. But I guess she thinks she's the only Black woman. Those comments don't apply.
He meant those Black women. He didn't mean her. He meant those Black women.
Yeah, those other ones, the ones that he's threatened by. See, it goes back to the men being threatened, and I think Candace Owens is really mad, and she's lashing out, and she's like, I'm going to burn it all down. I think she's a very unstable person. And but the rest of them, they are shifting their grift. They're shifting because their base is shifting.
Throw one thing in there just for fun, which is Rogan was the first one to jump ship and be like, this ICE, right? ICE, this is not what I signed up for, blah, blah, blah. But then he convinced Trump to legalize psychedelics, and he was in the Oval basically hugging him. So, like, someone explained that to me, but that was just a little pause there.
I can't believe there's no opportunism there. None.
Well,
None.
you know, it's like, you know, they denounce him, and then, you know, a lot of them, they come back for a little bit. It's like, ooh, made daddy mad, you know. It's like
Battered women syndrome.
It really is just insane. And you know, you talk about like the last straw, you know, like, to me, the last straw was so long ago. I mean, the fact that he mocked a disabled New York Times reporter, you know, the first thing, grabbing a woman by the pussy, they let you do it. I mean, you could go back so far with him. You know, the last straw should have been the first straw, you know?
Well, me, it was when he came down the
Mind-boggling.
escalator and said that Mexicans were rapists. He called Mexicans rapists. I mean, on the first day when he announced, that was my last straw. You
And,
know,
you know, I think a lot of these, they don't, what's that, Yanni?
When he started, I mean, when he went after Obama for the birth certificate before he was even
Oh, yeah.
running, you know, when he was pre-running, you know, that, or when he was on Howard Stern talking about he doesn't date a girl under 12, was it 12? Or he sexualized his daughter, like all of those breakers before the escalator for me.
The Central Park Five. I mean, like, you just go back so far. You go back to all of his dealings. I grew up in New York. Everybody who grew up in New York knew what a scumbag this guy was, and his whole family, you know, not renting to Black people, you know, his anti-Semitism. I mean, it just goes back so deep. The fact that he was schooled by Roy Cohn. I mean, give me a break.
Well, this is what happens when you have somebody who's never held accountable for anything ever their entire life. Everything's handed to. They have never. I mean, what is this? The story about when he's a little kid and he's throwing, like, 5 or 6 or something, and he's throwing rocks at the 2-year-old toddler across the street and hitting this kid by throwing rocks at him. And the kid's mother comes over to talk to Mrs. Trump about, you know, your son is throwing rocks at my son, and she says, I'll take care of it. And basically, it's Donnie, go play. I mean, nothing. Just go, you know, nothing. No spanking. No, you don't do this. No, go to your room. You know, you ever heard that story?
No.
Yeah, it's in one of the bios. It's in one of the bios.
This is what happens when you give children participation trophies and don't hold them accountable for their behavior.
I have nothing against participation trophies. I always thought that was overblown.
I hate them. Life's not fair. Let them learn the lesson early. Like,
Look at all the money stuff too. I mean, how he's making money hand over fist. I mean, and so much of it
Billions.
it's illegal. I mean, it's just the criminality of who he is and his administration. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the war. I mean, let's look at what's going on with the war. You know, his son-in-law, who has taken $2 billion from the Saudis and wants another 5 billion, is the one who was supposedly negotiating for us. While he is trying to raise money and do business in the region with other countries who have a vested interest in seeing Iran bombed repeatedly. I mean, it's just so everything is so transactional and is right there out in the
why
open.
aren't you talking about Hunter Biden's laptop, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Hillary's emails.
Hillary's email.
Hillary's emails. Okay, so Yanni, your question. Okay, so the drum beat is really loud among the conspiracy theorists who he courted. By the way, we all know he courted the conspiracy theorists. That's one of the reasons he got to where he got. Every wild conspiracy theory, you know, you mentioned Obama's birth certificate, and there were many others. Well, now they have turned it around on him, and you got all these MAGA conspiracy theorists who are saying that the assassination attempt was faked. And you know, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. They make up, I hate to say it, but they say some things that are plausible. I mean, we're all old enough to remember when Reagan got shot. Then when Reagan got shot, you remember? I mean, it was like wall-to-wall coverage. We knew all about Hinckley by 6 o'clock. He got shot like at noon, West Coast time. By 6 o'clock, we knew what Hinckley's favorite breakfast was.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, you had doctors coming out with charts, and the
No
bullet came in
sympathy for
here, and the president. None of that. Nothing. And there is a report that there was the firefighter who was killed, who was shielding his family, who got shot. His wife wants answers, and nobody will give her any answers. And Trump, who investigates everything, is not investigating this. So I'll ask you straight up: do you think, you know, seeing what it is that you see, and yes, people got killed, but I mean, is this? Do we want to believe that the CIA and stuff have never, you know, have never killed anybody for political reasons, that somebody we don't know about? You know, so do you think it was real or that was fake?
I have, I was not a conspiracy theorist. Like, I always found it really annoying when some Hotep brother would be like, you know, it's because they blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, great, here we go. Right. But the minute that man got shot, I was like, he didn't get shot. This whole thing was staged. I thought that the minute, and I was like, and now he's got all these fools wearing maxi pads on their ears at the RNC. But I never believed he actually got shot. Look at how quickly his ear healed. And also, that man talks about everything bad that happens, what that he believes is bad, as if the world is against him. He's still talking about the 2020 election and how it was rigged and all these things that were unfair and how they did this to him and that to them. But he's not going to talk about this. He's not going to talk about the ear that healed in a day. And, you know, there are people, I mean, immediately afterwards, before the convention, I was like, that was staged, because no one was running away. They weren't shooing people out to be safe. They rushed the reporters over and the photographers over for the photo op. That was their priority. He got up and was like, fight, fight, fight. I remember being on the 7-8 bus, and these guys were shooting at each other, and the bus driver pulled into the line of fire. And I was shaking. I almost, like, I was so glad I survived that whole thing. But I was terrified, and I was shaking, and I was so upset, and I couldn't talk about it for a little bit, because every time I did, I'd start shaking. There was so much trauma involved. Nobody there was traumatized. Nobody was freaked out. Like, it was almost like, okay, we heard the shot. He grabbed his ear. Ketchup packet has exploded. Get him over here. Take his picture. Like, why was that one guy allowed in that one place, the one place that had no, like, security or cameras or anything? Like, how did he get up there so easily? And some woman was like, I told them he was up there, and no one did anything about it. So even before all of this,
What's his name?
I put my
What's his
tinfoil
name?
hat on. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Or a sad little man.
Mm-hmm. What's his
Who
name?
knows what happened to him? Who knows if he's even dead? Who knows if he existed? Like, seriously, I don't believe that. I don't believe the guy at Mar-a-Lago. I think they tried to stage it again. I
Yes.
think that when he was that desperate.
Mhm.
And I mean, I was not a conspiracy theorist before this. Now my tinfoil hat is on. I'm wondering how Elon knew 4 hours before election results with all the threats going into the polls and the polls being shut down and people being denied votes and people going online saying, I looked up my voting status. It says I never voted. I was in line for 2 hours. I'm there.
Well, I saw another thing that the odds of winning 7 swing states is like winning 7 lotteries in a row,
Yeah.
or 7 lotteries all at 7 Powerballs all at the same time. So I saw a picture of, because ear cartilage doesn't heal, it doesn't regrow. And there's a picture, I didn't know that until this. There's a picture that's going around of remember Tyson bit off Holyfield's ear, a part of it. It's still messed up.
Oh yeah, yeah. My dog bit a piece of my other dog's ear, and it's missing. It's missing. It never came back. But one of the things that I call bullshit on was he gets shot with this like
Assault weapon.
this assault weapon, right?
Yeah.
And there's blood, but he's wearing a crisp white shirt. No blood, no splatter, nothing got on his shirt. He probably didn't want blood on his shirt. Nothing, it just like right here. And then apparently he was complaining that he wanted his shoes. Like he was, where are my shoes? Because I guess he wears lifts in his shoes, so he didn't want to look too small. He was worried about his shoes. Someone just shot him and missed killing him by a millisecond, like this much. And
Well, you
that's
could say he's in shock. The plausible explanation for that could be shock. If you were really shocked, that he was in shock.
but he just wanted to celebrate. He was celebrating instead of them pushing him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, where are they? Oh, here it is. Fight, fight, fight.
Right.
That fight, fight, fight. That's when I was like, that's fake.
And even the car, when he was in the car driving off, they had to push him back into the car. And at that point, they still didn't know, was there a live shooter around?
Exactly.
He had his body out of the car, waving with his fist again.
Mm-hmm. None of it makes sense. I'm sorry,
None
Nicole.
of it makes sense. Oh, you're good. There wasn't one moment of me that bought this thing that he was shot. And I took incoming from my family. They were like, oh, come on. Was related to Bill and Hillary Clinton and was in many motorcades and in many, 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 many times traveling with them. In no world was the protocol. Like, and the reality is everything you guys said, I agree with all of it. There's no doubt in my mind that people dying would not bother him on any level. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I think lots of people have been sacrificed for this guy. I think Iranians are being sacrificed for him right now for absolutely no reason. I think he couldn't care less. He doesn't feel any of it. They're grifting off it. They're making money off of people suffering. This is what these guys do. And I think it's on us now to expose all of it. We have to expose all of it, not just the stagecraft of this. This is what you get when you elect a TV reality show dude to be into the presidency. Brian, remember we can envision this. We would write about this. Like this would be a TV show that we came up with. Like, eventually a reality show guy gets president. Oh, like not funny. But what is next with AI? What do we not know? Why is this all happening when we haven't given anyone permission? I just want to be on the record right now and say I do not give permission to the world to be all about AI. I'm just saying that. But all I'm saying is who's behind this? Come on now. Who's behind all this happening? Who's letting this all happen?
Who? Anyway, what'd you say?
I said
Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel. It's behind the whole thing.
That's how I feel about it. And beware for more deep fakes, because this is the beginning of what potentially we could be facing should it be a Putin-esque world that we end up being in. But Hungary has given me hope.
Well, let me put this into the mix. If in fact there is a blue wave and there is a fair election, and they don't suppress enough votes in order for Congress to change hands, how much time do you think I mean, one of the reasons for the blue wave would be because of the fact that people are hurting. And people need their health care. The millions of people who had, or thousands of people who, tens of thousands, I guess, who had health care ripped away from them because of the big, beautiful bill, and rural hospitals that were closed. And people who, in Palo Alto, up here, there was a gas station that had gas for $9. $9 a gallon up here. That could be as $4. Where? I'll go there. There's
It's
$4 for
$5 a
gas.
gallon here.
You know,
Well, yeah.
so this is what people, this is one of the main things that's going to drive people to the polls. But so how much time do you think they should spend on investigations? Do you want them spending the whole time on investigations to impeach him and send him to a Senate? Because even if the Senate changes hands, there's not going to be a 2/3 Democratic majority in there. There's just not. And you cannot count on the Republicans who remain to do the right thing. I mean, Nixon resigned because the Republicans came to him and said, you got to resign because they're going to impeach you and you're not going to survive it.
Well, here's the problem, though. JD Vance we're going to also have to take JD Vance out. He's going to have to be removed from office. They're going to have to use something different than just impeachment or 25th Amendment, because JD Vance is mentored by Peter Thiel and also by Curtis Yarvin. And those are two people who are profoundly, disturbingly, disgustingly evil. Along with that Palantir CEO who's trying to create that mandatory draft now. These men do not believe in democracy. And they are behind a lot of what's going on now. They are the broligarchs. And JD Vance has no soul. He has no moral compass. He just talks better than Trump, but he's just as diabolical as Trump, and he's younger and smarter. The only good thing is that people hate him, right? But
he's the most unpopular vice president in history right now.
And he says dumb stuff all the time. But if he becomes president because they remove Trump, democracy is done. And that, I believe, is what's going to cause violent uprising in this country, is because the plan that they have. Curtis Yarvin talks about how people who are useless should be turned into biofuel.
Jesus.
And they're trying to replace everyone with AI.
Nazi Germany. So what about, Vance is gone too. Then you have Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson's third in line, right? Yeah.
He's third in line. Then what?
Yeah.
I don't know
Unless
about
there's a blue wave, and then it's Jeffries, and Jeffries isn't that much better.
I'd like to respond to Brian's question about how much time do we spend, should there be a blue wave, and should we, which I believe there will be, and I believe we will win, and I believe it'll be enough for there to be, I mean, it won't be a huge margin, obviously it can be small numbers, but it will be significant, and it's possible we could win the Senate as well. If you look at kind of the trajectory we're on, we've got some good candidates, and not that these guys are progressives, a lot of the, like Tallarico, whatever, but it's looking pretty good. And considering the magic that's happened, really, really magical elections thus far, I'm going to say we should use these investigations as an opportunity towards 2028 to educate people, as much as is humanly possible, so that the investigations, the Jamie Raskins of the world, who I love, I love me some Jamie Raskin, opposite of Swalwell. And you get guys like that. And I do think, we can beat up Hakeem all day long, and he's got a difficult situation with AIPAC and Jews in the state and and leadership. And it's hard to be a leader of this coalition of Democrats, which is, there is no thesis that brings them all together. Remember how diverse we are. Incredibly different from Republicans. I'm just going to say we can chew gum and walk at the same time. We can investigate. We can say our democracy deserves transparency. Look, we went after Swalwell, and we're going to go after the guy whose girlfriend lit herself on fire. I'm sorry, I don't remember what his name is, but like that, we have to be across the board willing
Gonzalez, Tony Gonzalez.
Thank you, at Gonzalez. And we can do all of those things, and we can talk about these things, but the level of corruption, people are rejecting that. So I'm not saying goodbye to democracy just yet. I'm going to plant my flag here today and say we're going to be all right, because that's just where I come from.
Here's what scares is, you're right. We need to educate people, because I even have friends here who have no idea what's going on. with the politics. They have no idea that stuff is happening that's going to impact their lives. They're just getting up and living their life. They're not paying attention to what the government's doing.
And if they do, what it is they're eating up they're lapping up the propaganda from from Fox and from right wing hosts and from and so forth.
The ones trying to justify that people who are foreign need to be locked up in these prisons that are private prisons that are making billions, that a lot of these politicians and White House administrative employees have stock in. Stephen Miller is making money off of what he's doing.
He looks like Adolf Eichmann, doesn't he? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I love the nickname for him.
His family fled the Holocaust, and this is who he is.
That great nickname for him, Pee Wee German.
Oh my God. Thank you for that, Sue. It's a new one. Yay.
I'm waiting for Nuremberg too. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I was wondering.
They need to answer for them. So like Pam Bondi, all of them. They all need to answer.
Christy
Patel, Hegseth, all of them.
Speaking of which, what do you think about the Patel stuff that came out in the Atlantic article and the fact that he's turning around suing him? It's like, you idiot, you're suing him. There's this thing called discovery. They're they can now, if you go forward with this, they will have subpoena power to get your internal memos at the FBI and to get emails, and they'll be able to back up. They're not printing something like that without being able to back it up. So
he should be very warned.
Well, he'll drop it. I think he'll drop it.
Well, look at when Melania went after Michael Wolff. She's like, I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. Guys, I'm going to sue them. And then they were like, bring it. I'm ready for discovery. And then all of a sudden we hear nothing about the lawsuit, right?
Oh, yeah, and the fact that she, first of all, just unprovoked, she just came out and defended herself about something that nobody even accused her of. But the fact that she said that she had no relationship with Ghislaine and Epstein, and there's like a pet name they had.
Sweet Pea.
Really? Like
that's something to peas. Like that's wrong.
What kind of future are we looking at? We're looking at $20 for bacon.
Bacon's bad for you. Anyway,
this is their.
You got no health care.
World. This is the world. I just don't see how it's not going to. I think. Well, look, we're going to see in November. Have me back on, please, because I really want to just drink in the long lines. It's going to be, people are going to be waiting in those lines. I know, but it's that's.
See, here's why I'm saying. Here's why I have that grimace is because I've had my heart broken too many times the last 10 years. Yeah. I was sure when you looked at the energy in the rallies and I'm sure Kamala. I know Kamala.
Yes, but that's not a midterm. Like I'm telling you, they can't. It's very difficult to mess with a midterm. So at least let me enjoy the midterm.
He's gonna try. He's desperate. He's gonna try.
Yeah,
he knows that if there's a blue wave, not only is he going to be removed from office, but he's facing prison. Those files are going to come out. And there's there's a few things where you're like, wait a minute, let me fact check that. And like some of it, you're like, okay, well, that's not true. But like some of the things in there are so gross and disturbing. Like the things that QAnon was accusing the Democrats of. Mm-hmm. It looks like that the Epstein class was doing that, and it's just, that stuff's going to come out. And I think that's what he's also afraid of. And so he's so desperate. He's going to do something crazy.
Well, the reason that they're seizing ballots.
Going to do something crazy. Sorry?
The reason that they're seizing ballots from Fulton County and from other places from the 2020 election is the speculation is they're going to use this to claim massive voter fraud. And so therefore he's going to try to federalize the election. He's going to try to federalize the election.
Even though the Constitution won't allow it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to stop it. So far.
It doesn't matter what the Constitution says anymore.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's got the Supreme Court. It's like it's like a really shitty game of chess with him. It's like checkmate every time he makes a move that you say, okay, he can't do this,
Mhm.
he does it.
He does it.
And they allow it.
Well, maybe they're
Problem
seeing
they
the writing on
allow
the
it.
wall.
So why are they
Maybe.
allowing it?
Why are they allowing it? Well,
What's the problem?
like you said, does he have something on them? I don't know. I really think that they all are fearful of losing their status in the world.
I think
That's
that
They're
if
not
that
going,
were,
they're not
if-
doing anything. Once they're out of office, where are they going?
I think if that were true, the SAVE Act would have been a done deal by now, and it's not. So that, for me,
That's
that
true.
is the sort of precursor of the, the wall that's kind of holding back some of this, plus all the lawsuits. We win all the lawsuits, and yeah, there are certain things they can get away with, like putting cops on the streets and beating up people and throwing them in jail. But they,
Without due process.
there's other things that are much more difficult to do. So I don't know. I may be a Pollyanna, and I'd rather be wrong and have hope.
Mm.
So that's just where I'm at.
Well, that is the truth, because once hope is that's the only thing. That's the only way that we lose this country is if we lose hope. That's
Yeah.
really it. Let's end with this, something maybe a little bit lighter. The Michael Jackson movie opens this weekend. I have not seen it. Has anybody seen it yet? It hasn't come out yet, but I was supposed to go to a press screening on Monday, and I wasn't able to make it. But what the critics are saying about it, Michael's nephew's playing him, and they say that his performance is absolutely electric, and that draws you in. But the critics don't like don't like the film, and don't like the way that the film was done. They have a lot of problems with it, among other things. Among the problems they have with it, from what I understand, is that it starts with On the Wall, when he was doing the album on the Wall, his first solo album, and it takes you through Thriller right up to before Bad begins. So before any of the really crazy shit, any of the massive allegations, of misconduct with young boys came out. It ends before him dangling babies out of the window and buying the Elephant Man's bones, just sleeping in an oxygen chamber and all that. Somebody said that it's like if you made a movie about the life of OJ and ended it after he won the Heisman. That's what it is.
Not when he was on airplane.
No, they don't take
Or Hertz
Was he an
commercial.
airplane? He was an airplane, right?
Yeah, no, the Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Yeah.
The Naked Gun. And I'll tell you something about that that's kind of interesting too, is that I read an article a while ago, like Entertainment Weekly or something, about how that movie should be a movie that 12, 13, 14-year-old boys, the Naked Gun movies, are quoting lines from back and forth, like a lot of those, like the Adam Sandler kind of movies and stuff. But the reason it isn't is because you don't see it because of OJ. Very few places will run it. And I've watched it since his trial and stuff, and you can't watch those films because every time he comes on screen, it takes you out of it. Every time it completely takes you out of it. So, but anyway, in terms of the way that they have done this film, they did it with family involvement, obviously, and with the involvement of the estate. And the estate is trying really hard to posthumously scrub his reputation because, well, they own the IP and everything else. They're making money. They got to scrub his reputation to make money. So I guess if there's a question, it's like once you knew they were making a movie about him and he's controversial and his family's involved, what did you expect? I mean, did you expect the family to have allow a warts and all portrayal, and the estate to allow a warts and all portrayal of him?
I think it was off the wall, by the way. But
Didn't I say that off the wall?
is it on the wall? I thought
No,
you
I
said,
thought I said. Oh, I misspoke. Yeah, no, it's
anyway,
off the wall. I know
no,
it's off the wall.
good. It's all good. But like, I think in real time, the way we digested Michael Jackson, look, I think there are a lot of negative films about Michael Jackson, and we don't know the truth. I don't think we totally know exactly the truth. There's some truth that, I at least I don't, but I do know what he meant to me growing up, what his music meant to me. And I think it's okay to have a slice of life, if they want to make this film, that my son can see, that where he would see what I saw growing up with Michael Jackson. We can read about it, all the other stuff. I don't think it's just like the Beatles, Get Back, right? that wasn't all the whole Beatles story. And it was like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, the Yoko thing, whatever. Each little piece kind of uncovers another layer of something that is completely taken up our imaginations. So I say, let Michael Jackson and his family have their moment. And for those that want to just harp on the bad shit, there's plenty of movies out there for that.
Sue?
I would like to see like mystery science theater version of Triumph, the insult comic dog, making comments during the film. That's what I would like to see on this film.
I would love to see that.
It's like my sisters, how my sisters are when my sisters watch films, the way that they talk. And I've always had an idea for a concept for a show like Mystery Science, except it's my two black sisters watching watching movies, and we just call it two sisters watching movies.
Oh, do they
The
make
stuff that they say, the stuff that
film?
horror movies especially, it's great.
Okay.
They're listening to their horror movies. It's hysterical. Well, they expect it to be one of the biggest biopic openings in history. I was surprised. Bohemian Rhapsody grossed 900 million, and they think this will gross more by the time it's all said and done with worldwide. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Nikki, because it's he meant a lot to me growing up. Watching the Jackson 5. I came up right along with him, and like my kids don't know how good he was. Or the whole phenomenon of Thriller. That was like my senior year in high school when Thriller was out, and it was all consuming, and everybody trying to learn how to moonwalk and the whole thing. And the music is still good. The music still holds up. If I put on Thriller, it's still good. It's
Yeah.
still good.
I mean, just as long, when they do these biopics, and it's kind of like, this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but that love story show that was on FX about John Kennedy and
Caroline Bessette.
I mean, there was so much bullshit in that series that it's so disturbing to me, because you're taking real people, like how they portrayed Daryl Hannah, how they portrayed Caroline Kennedy. I mean, it was all crap. I mean, it wasn't true. And I know they'd like, oh, it was inspired by. It's like, cut the bullshit with the inspired by. You were trying to do a biographic series about two people and extended family, and a lot of it was, I mean, Daryl Hannah, she came out like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, the accusations, she, like snorting coke in the apartment all the time. And she said, I never like threw a cocaine party in the apartment. So just really, I don't know. I just feel it's so irresponsible.
Well, there's a
My
history of that, though. Look at the Buddy Holly story. The only thing that's true about the Buddy Holly story is there was a guy named Buddy Holly. It's really the only thing that's true in it, because there's so many of them that are just complete fabrications. I'm sorry, Yanni, you were going to say.
My friend wrote a book about her father called Fairyland Memoirs of My Father, and then it was turned into a movie. So we go to the premiere, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, oh my God. And she goes, listen, there's going to be scenes, and you're going to turn to me and go, why did they put that in? We never did that. And it's just for context. And I was like, okay. Because when her father was dying of AIDS, the way she told me and all of that, it was very different from what happened in the movie. And then I've got my cousin on the other side who's mad because the person playing me as a teenager, she's like, that's not you at all. I'm like, this is her movie, girl. Like, stop it. But there was a lot of stuff where I'm like, who is this person in this scene? She's like, someone they made up for context for the next thing. And they take a lot of liberties with these films. Right. And if you're the real person who lived that life, you're just like, none of that happened. Why are they doing that? And she's like, well, they said they needed to do it for context. And I'm like, and I see why. Like, I saw why as the film progressed, why they did that. But as the person who experienced that, you're like, none of that happened. Like,
yeah, and a lot of times, the reality wasn't as compelling. I mean, I worked in reality TV as a producer for such a long time, and I worked on shows where, these women who like met each other the day before they shot were supposed to be friends for like 10 years. And they would be having they would go to this like annual retreat that they would do up at this like mountain house. And they all sat there and kind of told stuff about their lives. And one woman said, yeah, I got an abortion when I was, and when they were like, you got an abortion? And I'm thinking, they're friends. They're women, first of all.
Mhm.
They've been friends for 10 years, and you're shocked to learn that your best friend had an abortion? Give me a fucking break. You don't know each other? I said, you know what? I could go, women are so intimate with one another. I could be in a public bathroom, overhear two women having a conversation, join the conversation, and within 5 minutes, I can know the history of how they both lost their virginity. And I just met them. So when you tell me that women that know each other 10 years don't know personal stuff like this, it's like it's just the story that they wanted to tell, a different story that had nothing to do with these people's real lives because it wasn't as interesting.
You know, that's fascinating. The fact that women are that forthcoming with other women. You know, it's just because guys aren't like that. We are just not like that.
They are in Nashville. Listen, let me tell you, these people in the South will tell you everything, and all you're just trying to get a bottle of olive oil, and someone will come up and be like, "Oh, you like that olive oil? Let me tell you my whole life story and how it relates to olive oil. Should I buy that olive oil? My mama uses olive oil since her heart attack. You know, she had a heart." And I'm like, "Oh my God." The San Francisco in me is like, "Stop talking to me." And but the outside of me is like, "Oh, really? Uh-huh." Because I don't want to be a jerk, but like, you know, being from San Francisco, I'm like, "What do you want? Why are you talking to me?" It's hard. I had to have some self-reflection. I learned how much of an asshole I was when I first moved here. Because yeah, no, in the South, people will tell you everything. And then they end the conversation with, "So where do you go to church?" And if you say, "You don't go to church," "Oh, you should come to my church. I'll pick you up. Where do you give me your phone number?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." They tell you everything here. That's why my friend is screaming
Oh, you're
HPV in the
killing me.
middle of a fucking restaurant,
You're
right?
killing me.
So
You're killing me. Well, it's funny. I do. You know, I'm an author, and I've got a crime fiction series that I do, and I do a lot of book clubs, and I think I've probably over the years done 100 book clubs, and you know, while going to be part of the discussion, I think I've seen one man. It's almost literally one man out of the 100 book clubs
wow.
because, and they said the reason is because a guy is not going to sit around and talk about how a book made him feel. It's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. But you know, women want to talk shit out all the time, and you know, just all right, fine,
We do.
all right, fine, all right. Well, with that, anybody got anything they want to plug?
Um,
Anything you want to mention?
I could
Yes,
plug something. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a huge baseball fan.
I
So
do know that about you.
I have been writing recaps of baseball for years and years on Facebook, and I had a blog. I just a book came out opening day called Comedians Talking Baseball.
Ooh,
You can get it on Amazon, and I wrote 3 stories.
Oh, awesome!
okay, cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know a lot. It's like 60 comedians are in the book.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, and it's called Comedians Talking
Comedians Talking
Baseball.
Baseball.
Comedians Talking Baseball. Okay, I will pick it up. And I'm going to point you to my son Casey has does a series over TikTok. He does a different one every day. It's called Bope Knows Baseball, and it's just so real because he watches the Ken Burns doc beginning to end over and over and over and over every day. That's his lullaby music. And so he comes up with all of this obscure and I guess really insightful if you are really a baseball fanatic. But check it out. Bope knows baseball. I think you would argue with him. Actually, I think.
Okay, so talking about Ken Burns documentary, the greatest thing that I learned in Ken Burns documentary is that Tim Raines, who played for the Montreal Expos, he learned how to slide head first so as not to break the cocaine vial in his back pocket.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's hysterical. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Nikki, anything you want to mention? You working on
Yeah.
anything?
I mean, I've got some stuff later this year, but more importantly, go to headcount.com, headcount.org, and make sure you check your voter registration, everybody. Headcount.org, my bad. Headcount.org, check your voter registration, make sure you haven't been purged. And everything you could find out, anything you want to know about your local election, it's all there.
Well, you know, they probably should do it more than once then. I
Do
mean,
it
they should
once.
check it again closer to the election.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yanni, anything?
Well, Sue, this is Pablo Pequeño Sandoval.
Oh, well, since we're showing dog,
Yeah.
I see mine is upstairs. I leave mine upstairs because she won't sit while I do
Oh my
this.
God, what a cutie
Aw.
pie.
this is Maxwell.
Oh,
He's Chiweenie. He's part dachshund, part Chihuahua.
yeah.
That's
I love
Charlene.
me some baseball too. I don't know what I have coming up next until I talk to Brian on Friday and run something by him.
Ah.
Yeah, and see what he thinks. Just check me out on Substack, check me out on TikTok, check me out on this YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I also want to just let you know, did you know that there's a professional women's baseball league that's starting August 1st?
Oh,
No.
really?
Actual baseball, women playing baseball. I actually did some stuff for them a little while ago. I went to spring training that they did in Fort Myers, and I did some kind of, I was part of the creative team that did a lot of social media, and I interviewed all the women, and hopefully I will have a job with them. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see.
When's it start? When
It starts August 1st. All the games are in Springfield, Illinois. It's kind of an homage to the League of Their Own
Mhm.
women. 30 games, and the rules will be a little, I think it's only 7 innings. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Savannah Bananas.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think you would be, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, because
They're
it's,
fun.
it's in the South, and I know you're from the South. So, do you know about the Savannah Bananas?
No, I do not.
Oh, you don't?
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
they're so fun.
Nikki, do you know?
No.
They're
No.
this amazing, they're like I guess like an independent kind of baseball league. And they are like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. It's a lot of entertainment. They're all acrobatic. They do fun. There's like one player that's on stilts, but they are really great baseball players. I mean, you can't take that away from them, but they have funny, kind of crazy rules. Like if a fan catches a ball in the stands, it's an out. So it's like the entertainment,
Really?
it's the entertainment factor. So I think because these women aren't a part of Major League Baseball, like the WNBA,
Mhm.
they have to, they can kind of make up their own rules.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a combination of skills. These women can really play. They're very talented, but there'll be like an entertainment factor.
I would go watch that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would absolutely go watch that.
Mm.
I will tell you, I've only been to one minor league game in my life. It's the San Jose Giants. And
Okay.
it was one of the most entertaining games because they play their asses off because they're trying to get into the major. I mean, they really play hard, much
Mhm.
harder than going to an MLB game. I was really surprised. Really surprised. All right, Yanni Ababa, Sue Kalinsky, Nicole Boxer, thank you very, very much for being with me. And please come back again, okay? Okay.
thanks,
And
Brian.
Nikki, you'll be on many times between now and November. I hope. It's up to you. It's up to you and your schedule. Anytime you
Love
want.
it.
Anytime you
Love
want
it.
to open
So
invitation.
fun, you guys. Good to see you, ladies. I love
Yeah.
the ladies.
See you.
The
Thanks, Nikki.
ladies' day.
Yes.
Thanks,
Nice to
Brian.
meet you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for setting us all straight. And that's going to do it for us. We'll check you out next week. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you are watching this live stream or watching it after when it drops here. Make sure that you subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening to the audio version, please go and give us. Everybody's a dog person here. I like that. Nothing against cat people, but
Oh,
I
dogs
got
are
a
better.
cat too.
Dogs are better. They are.
I got a cat too.
You got a cat and a dog. They get along.
Yeah, they love each other unless I'm around, and Pablo is very territorial. So I am his.
I got a needy little Bichon, the
Uh,
neediest dogs on the face of the earth. So I got to get back to her. So if you were listening to this, please go and give us a 5-star review. It helps people to find the show. We'll check you out next week if there is a next week. I say that every week because who knows? Who knows? We got a crazy ass old man who has the codes. So who knows? Till then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows.